what if the biggest challenge in sustainability today isn't innovation but communication? How do we transform powerful environmental ideas into global movement that inspires action across countries, cultures, and generations? Welcome to another impactful episode of the Sustainability Side, where we bring together global voices creating a real change for a better future. Today's episode, we are going to discuss about environmental communications turning sustainability ideas into global impact. Joining us, inspiring Dr. Wesam Al Madhoun, a global ambassador, a global sustainability leader, environmental communication consultant, MIT alumnus, and a founder of Global Ambassadors of Sustainability, a worldwide non-profit network connecting change makers, researchers, educators, and sustainability advocates across more than 40 countries. Through international talks, fellowship, climate action initiatives, and sustainability leadership programs, Dr. Wissam has been building platform that transforms environmental awareness into meaningful collaborations and measurable impacts. In this episode, we will explore why communication is the backbone of the sustainability, how storytelling can influence climate action globally, and the role of powerful communication when it comes to the environmental awareness and the global communication around sustainability and the green innovations. We will talk about leaders, how they address, and what is the way that truly drives the change. Get ready for the conversation filled with insights, leadership, and global vision. Before we go into the session, let's have a small introduction.
Sing it loud, let's unite on the sustainability side. Feel the love day and night. Let's turn the tides, make a change today. Together we define our sustainable way. With every step we take, we rise and glow on the sustainability side. Let the good vibes flow.
Shall we start the session?
Yeah,
Yeah, first of all, thank you for your patience, and I'm so happy that we can able to do this back again. So, welcome back to the Sustainability Sun.
you're
And
welcome.
continuing our session, which we were discussing about the topic, the power of environmental communication turning sustainability ideas into global impact. I would like to ask, how do you define environmental communication in today's world and why it has become the central to driving global sustainability impact?
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much again. So I think when we talk about sustainability and the discussion around the terminology itself, so we are living in a lot of challenges currently, and when we refer to sustainability, so now it's a broader scope in terms of the environmental challenges, the climate issues, the economical challenges as well, and also the societal issues. So we are facing a lot of troubles, and that is because of our practices, our negative practices, which reflect and affected the environment negatively. So now everybody is talking about the transformation towards sustainability, toward green business, circular economy. So part of the transformation is the advocacy and awareness.
Mm,
So how to create that awareness and to mobilize the community and the governments, the public sector, the private sector. You need to communicate those issues, those challenges to
mm,
all these sectors. And you have to find the relevant channel to communicate and the content that you need to communicate as well on how to convince them, how to mobilize them to be part of the efforts. So this brings the issue of the importance of communication, how to communicate those information, those data, those kind of strategies, the urgency to create such a transformation. Because talking about strategies and visions and policies, if it does not reflect on the community behavior, nothing will move. And this show, this show the importance of the communication, and the communication to educate, to empower, to advocate all these issues to the community and the relevant parties, so that you convert the concepts, the terminology, the whole approach of sustainability into more practical on how to create that sustainable transformation. So that the education, the awareness, the advocacy is a very important part which need to be communicated in order to mobilize the people to be part of the process. And that will reflect on creating a positive impact on the efforts to promote sustainability, to be a lifestyle, to be a daily lifestyle for the individuals, for the communities, for the countries, for the global community as well.
Some foods don't just fill you, they heal you. Ancient grains, timeless nutrition, crafted for today. From heritage rice, noodles, to wholesome flakes and pasta, every grain is a step towards better health. Because wellness isn't a trend, it's a way of life. Nelligum. Eat like your roots intended.
That's a brief explanation that you give it to us, Dr. Wesam. I'm honored to get to know all the details in depth. So my question to you is like, in your experience, what transform a sustainable idea into a movement that influences any policy, behavior, or a global narrative as a whole?
Yeah, so the relationship between the policies and regulations in the context of sustainability, it's two ways, where first you need to develop those regulations and policies to regulate the whole environmental setup, because part of the challenge is the awareness and the knowledge of people. But another part of it is the kind of to the governance of the system itself. Because, for example, if you want to regulate the environmental issues, the environmental pollution in the private sector, for example, you need the policies and regulations and the standards. Because if you want to impose any kind of fines or the whole practical implications of the regulations, it has to be in the setup of kind of the monitoring itself and enforcement of these policies and regulations. Because as I said, it is the how to create that transformation. Some of the people, both in the community, maybe less in the private sector or other sectors, the knowledge and advocacy might help them to create that transformation. But still, certain numbers in those communities, they will look at the sustainability as a negative, from the negative perspective, as a burden, as a cost, extra cost for them. So in this context, you need the regulations, policies, and the enforcement of these regulations, so that you create that transformation. The other relationship, which is when you start creating that transformation, along that line, you need to develop the policies and regulations further, because in many countries, even the standards keep developing, because sometimes, like, you figure out the air quality standard, the one you planned 10 years earlier, you need to develop and to change the limitations, the margins, the values. So how to change those values, how to do that development, you need to you need to do research, and
mm,
the outcomes of the research will reflect on the development of the policy and regulations, because now many countries rely on or deploy the approach of science-based decision making, the
mm,
relationship between science and those regulations and policies. So you need the regulations and policies to create that transformation for the enforcement and create the protection of the environment to develop it. And you need to develop the policies along the line with the research and development, which will help to keep up all these policies and regulations up to date. And sometimes you need to do benchmarking with more advanced system so that you keep up with the regulations to make sure you are protecting the environment and the community and the health as well.
yeah, I totally believe with you, and I believe these kind of institutions, as you have mentioned, play a bigger part in it. Not only the institution, we can also consider the think tanks or the research organizations and global ambassador networks like GAOS plays a key part in all this kind of, translating the complex environmental science into a public understanding. How do you think this role is being played here, and what should you think should be improved in upcoming future?
Yeah. So again, I think one of the aspects of sustainability, and it is clear in the SDGs, we have the SDG number 17, which is talking about partnerships for the goals. So the transformation and the achievements of the goal, it's not only the role of the public sector or the private sector or the non-profit. It's kind of a partnership that need to be established where everybody is taking a role in that process, which will help. So the public sector need to develop the regulations, policies, provide funding. The partnership with the private sector, it will assist to create more initiatives to kind of create more green aspects. Like we see now a lot of green business concepts, the recycling, reuse, the renewable energy aspects. So, because at the global scale, there is a gap in the funding for SDGs, where the governments, they can't do all in each country to fund all these initiatives. So there should be a partnership between the private and the public sector. And the other aspect is the role of the non-profit
Mm,
sector, where they have the reach to the community, they have an access to the community with the local authorities. And at the global scale, the non-profit sector is playing a role. Many of these organizations, either they implement initiatives with local partners, they provide funding as well. In some cases, like the case of the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability, since we started the initiative in 2020, so we focus on advocacy and awareness, and we do
mm,
that with no fund for 6 years, where we try to connect the dots, bring experts from the academia, from the private sector, from the public sector to share their knowledge, their experiences to the audience, and that helped to educate the people, to advocate on sustainable development. And a lot of these efforts kind of succeeded to reach thousands of people in 130 countries. And
mm,
we continue to develop these programs, which being developed to the level of creating a professional global fellowship, which is aiming to educate the professional and young generations on sustainable development, the concept and the practices, bringing different experiences from various localities globally. And that will help to kind of develop the capacities of those people and also contribute to create the transformation on the global setup. Where in
mm,
our program so far, we have thousands of people joined this fellowship program from at least 45 countries. And we are proud of these efforts because we succeeded to create a platform where we bring those expertise together to share their knowledge, to create that discussion, healthy discussion on how to transfer those concepts on a practical prospect. And in many cases, the scenarios they are bringing, they are practical solutions for challenges. And again, we provide free access for these programs, and also we create a recognition system for these professionals and young generation to join. So we are contributing at the level of advocacy and capacity building at the global setup.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I want to congratulate you personally for achieving a milestone. I recently saw the post that so many people are joining the courses, they are being interactive, and they want to be the part of it. So, congratulations for achieving the milestone, Dr. Isam. I truly want this to grow into much more countries. A lot of people, becoming the ambassador of sustainability and creating a impact. Because as your vision, it started as awareness and an education. Now it has evolved into something beautiful. A lot of influential people are talking about it, a lot of institutional people with the policies, governments, every institutions, universities, everybody is part of it. Now it has started evolving from an education to an advocacy. So congratulations on your milestone. I want it to grow. With that, with that ethical standpoint, I had a question. Like usually when we have this kind of communications, that draws the line between influential behavior and maintaining transparency. How it should go usually, and how it
Yeah,
should do it.
yeah. So I think one of the important aspect is that so the whole process is based on educating people and raising their awareness, capacity building for these professionals and human resources. So once they have the knowledge, and they are, again, if you follow the ethical approaches in educating people, so once you are developing this program as a non-profit, on a non-profit basis, so the ethical values, the transparency is increased, since the whole discussion is about contributing on how to create a positive change. So now, after getting the knowledge, it's the role of the professionals, the graduates, when they go to the market, when they join the market, whether they want to be part of this ethical system or they want to be part of the greenwashing system. That sometimes, we are exaggerating in the efforts, and we trying to pose things which is not on the ground really. We are highlighting like in not a proportional level. So that is, we are diverting from the ethical values. So the base should be ethical. The base should be transparent, where we are giving the options for people when they are joining the market, so to have more ethical value. And the second point is to be practical. You need to show them that these concepts are also can be profitable at the private sector, because if we fail to do that for the private sector, I think it will be challenging for them, because after all, the private sector is seeking profits. I mean, they are not a non-profit organizations. They are for profit. So you need to start with a base of the ethical values, the commitments of each of us towards the planet, towards the community. But then the second layer is to educate them and to provide them with the tools that these circular concept, these sustainable concept, also if they are being applied well, they can be profitable in the market.
Mm.
So if you can be ethical and make profits, I think this is the best option. So the third level, if you still insist, or many people still insist, they want to get the profit, they want to make a profit, whatever is the consequence, whether they are selling pesticides or they are selling drugs or they are selling whatever. So
Mhm.
here it comes the rule of the policies and regulations, where you need to have a strong enforcement for these regulations. So you need to work parallel on education, advocacy, creating ethical value, creating the commitment, increasing the commitments of people towards their community and the environment they are living in. And also in the same line, you need to empower the governance system, empower the regulating bodies so that they can take a role in the process. And then you will have a comprehensive system which will make sure that sustainability is practical, ethical, and also profitable for the private sector and for the national countries, because we can see a lot of reports about the losses from the
Mm.
negative effects to our environment, on health and economy, and the whole sectors in the national setup. So I think this is need to be comprehensive on all aspects.
Yeah. And discussing about the comprehensiveness and the positive mindset, there are still, I believe, gaps in today's modern scientific knowledge, when it comes to policies and decisions and a public awareness. I'm pretty sure organizations and NGOs, even government policies and beautiful organizations like GAOS are working towards it. But there are few gaps, right? So how can a communication bridge them effectively, and where where do you think it is going wrong? Where Because why these gaps are having creation of these gaps are happening? What is happening in the grassroots level?
Yes. Can we stop for a while? I just need to get some water.
So please go ahead, please.
So, yeah, I'm sorry.
No issues.
So, so maybe you want to like reiterate the point just now. Is it you are talking about the gaps in the communication, or in what context?
Communication, like the policies are implemented for the betterment of the whole community, but somewhere it is not reaching till the grassroots levels. Maybe it may be policies, or it may be public awareness, it may be scientific knowledge. Where do you think the gap is creating, and how should we avoid that from your experience?
So yeah, you know, uh, in whatever efforts you do, and this is the main concept in sustainability, it has to be inclusive.
Hmm.
So inclusive in terms of the grassroots in the community, and even in the community, you are talking about the various setup of the community, talking about young people, women, talking about poor, rich, all segments of the community. And in the community, in the communication as well. So you need to find ways to reach all these segments as well. So it has to be part of the programs at the school level, at the university level, at the community, non-profit organizations, and it has to be kind of, again, inclusive, where and this is actually one of the agendas of the global ambassadors of sustainability. So we don't put limitations on the membership, whether there is a lot of rules or costing. So means everybody is welcome if they have interest. And we believe that once they are part of the efforts, when they are part of the movement, they will learn and then they will figure out how they can contribute. So I think one of the scenarios, so we have lecturers, we have students from even at the school level, the university level, we have from the non-profit organizations, whether they are even when we look at the profile, so whether they are holding a leadership post at the organization or they just ordinary staff of the organization. So you need to create and include, you don't have, or you cannot have a system where education and awareness and those programs is only for the elite of the community or the elite of the organization. So what about other peoples who are on the grassroots, on the ground, who are implementing? They need also to be part of it. And I think that is very important to deliver the messages to the different layers of the community, the different segments, and also at the professional level, at various sectors, where, when you bring people to the same platform to discuss, to express their ideas, I think this is the real integration and the comprehensive approach which we are talking about it. And those ideas, it is being made sure that these ideas can transform to practical aspects on the ground.
So, looking ahead, what do you think the shifts in communication strategy should make it as an essential to accelerate a meaningful climate action globally? Maybe for the future, maybe present.
So I think now we have a lot of change, which is people are getting more interested in sustainability. They have different agendas, some of them because this is part of their job. Some of them, this is part of their agenda for promotion, for marketing. Like now, many of the universities, they'd like to have sustainability initiatives because this is part of the ranking of the university. Some of the organizations, they want to have sustainability initiative because there is a lot of funding in that domain. In the business sector, many people, they want to have a green business and green concept because, again, either they can get green finance, or there is a business opportunity. So these are some transformational setup which will assist and build the direction for the future. And we need to maintain that momentum. We need, again, to bring more people to show more success stories that this is doable, this can be done. And you just motivate the people. Otherwise, if you compare these efforts currently with efforts in the last 20 years. So me, as one of the environmentalists, we fail badly because we just keep talking about, the perspective of protecting the environment in the terms of, some birds and dirty water or whatever. Like it's a very minor and tiny issues. On the broader prospect, because we fail to connect every one of the community, every sector to sustainability. So it's become like an isolated issue. It's a very, you have to be so nice for the birds and the animals to care for the environment. But the real problem is facing everyone. So, and I think we discussed earlier at the first discussion on how big is the issues and the impact on the humanity in terms of number of fatalities, the economical losses. So we need to customize our messages based on our audience And that, again, will bring more people, more concerned people to be part of the sustainability efforts and protecting the environment as a holistic approach, as a holistic concept for the community and the various sectors.
Yeah, I couldn't agree less with you because the points that you have covered from the broad perspective view to the greenwashing, what I have observed from my level is like corporates have no problem utilizing all this kind of beautiful benefit schemes that are being allotted for sustainability in the name of climate change. But when it comes to the grassroots, small innovators and the startups or the NGOs, they are getting struggling to utilize these investments or the funds. So again, there is a gap happening between the communication, and someone is overutilizing it, misusing it, while the communities who deserves feels left out. So what can be done to avoid this problem so that everybody watching and listening us have that awareness within them to stand up?
Yeah, so I think we highlight various issues which is relevant to everyone, like
Mm,
from students at the school level, where when you talk about the environmental challenges and climate, it's not only, again, an environmental issue, it's a public health issue, so it's concerning everyone.
mm,
And for the education sector, so the awareness is relevant because people need to know what is the health risks poses to their self. And if you go further in the education system for the higher education, so talking about sustainability, integrating sustainability, it's becoming an opportunity for jobs in the near future, and a lot
mm,
of evidence currently in that domain. So talking about the community and the non-profit organizations, this is a very good theme to work on because this is very relevant to their scope, where they concern about the community. They have access to the community, so they can work with the community to make a better environment. For the public sector, I think this is one of the main agenda for the public sector, and
mm,
it is good for the strategies of the governments, the countries, to promote the green transformation. This will bring a new income generation, will save a lot of funding to enhance the health system, because when we have environmental challenge, we have more disease, more sick people with less productivity. So we save that amounts of the funding, and we create a new opportunity with the green business. So talking about private sector, this is a good potential for green business and circular economy for creating jobs. So you will see that there is an interest of every sector, everybody in the community to be part of the process. So that's
mm.
why, like, we need, again, this is the importance of education, communication, and advocacy on finding and delivering the right message to the right people with the right argument. We can't customize, we can deliver the message, one message fit for all sectors, because that might not be appealing to them. So again, we have to be smart in promoting those concepts to the various sectors and various communities.
You explained in depth, so thank you for that. My final question to you: I know you are a visionary, you are an impact creator. So, what does the true global impact will look like in the context of environmental communication per se in future, in your point of view?
You know, in every local context, so we are talking about whether it's communities, countries, or the regional levels. So this is part of the globe. So once we, even at the individual level, if we start promoting those ideas, so that's an accumulative, cumulative efforts that will again affect the whole global setup.
Mm.
So if you have a platform in Middle East, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, in North America, or you have a platform where people have collaboration on those issues from various global setup. So
Mm.
in each community, each person can be a catalyst in their community to create that transformation. And many of the environmental challenges, for example, whatever you talk about air pollution and climate or whatever, so it's becoming from local to global challenge. So even our efforts, if we become a local catalyst, a local activist who promotes sustainability, so if we, let's say, one guy from each country or 10 people or 1,000 people, so you multiply that at the global scale, then this will become a greater global movement, which will again bring those efforts and will bring more fruitful results at the global community. And this is the power of collaboration, the power of cooperation. And again, I'm always referring to the SDG number 17.
Mm.
It is very important for us to have a partnership for the goals for achieving sustainability, starting from the local level, regional, and also global, which again, if these problems being created by us as an individual, but if you have an individual in each community, so you have billions of people with negative attitude. So if we create that negative, if we transfer to be positive, that individual will be billions of positive change globally. So we don't have to neglect the value of the efforts, the individual efforts, because the challenge is being created by an individual behavior, a negative individual behavior, and it can be solved by changing that to a positive individual behavior. And that will be a collective effort, that will be a collective and will bring a collective results and outcomes for the global community.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wesam. It was a beautiful narration, and that was my final question. And you pretty much answered everything I was having in the back of my mind, thinking of the time constraint, whether I should ask, but you covered as a whole all the doubts and every question you answered. Thank you. Now, at the end of our session, we have something called a rapid fire round just to keep things light. So I will ask you a question. You can answer us in a one line or a one sentence or a one word. Is that fine?
Yep.
So starting. One sustainability myth you wish could disappear forever.
Sorry, one what?
One sustainability myth you wish could disappear forever from the people's mindset.
To disappear?
Yeah, myth. It's a false belief everybody is thinking about.
Yeah, I think that maybe the concept of or many people thinking that sustainability is costly, sustainability is a burden. So that mentality we need to abandon, because I think this is one of the barriers to implement and promote sustainability.
Beautiful. So, if you could change one climate message trend, or it could be a global overnight, if you could change something overnight, what it would be and why?
If we are talking about the efforts of individuals and communities, I think one part of the change, and it's relevant to climate and pollution as well. So if we can be part of the movement and be part of the public transport system, that will show our commitment and that will create a better impact for reducing the emissions, and also will solve a lot of issues in even in the road, like congestion, reducing stress, and reducing noises. So in one step, which is more on individual commitment, we can contribute a lot to this cause.
That's really powerful. So, in your vision, what is more influential today, or what creates the more successful communication in this modern world? A data, social media influence, or a storytelling?
I think as we said, and the messages should be diversified. So, and this is I noticed from the recent experience with the global ambassadors, that you need to use different means. Some people you might influence them by data, and some of them like social media, and using the presentation of data through the social media can reach more audience, or in some context storytelling might influence. So you are talking about the message, you are talking about the tool you are using, and you are talking about the community. And even now we are talking about different different segments and generations, Gen Z and Alpha. And so that, I mean, you have to have a diversified setup for delivering the message using the right tool and the right platform.
Oh, that's an impactful answer. And my final rapid fire question is like, what is your green communication superpower? It's your personal question, so you could answer from your point. It could be anything that you think, uh, this is my green communication superpower.
Um, I think in general, communication is very important, and communication, and also I'm thinking about publicizing things. Like when people, like communication, you use the tools to communicate the information, the data, you communicate the messages, and also the publicizing things, and publicizing stories, publicizing outcomes, impacts, that will attract more people. Because I think like people like success stories, people like success, even people, I think they want to collaborate with successful people. So you need to show that success stories for the people, because that will give hope to people. That will give people a storyline that this is doable. This is there are some people doing it, so we can copy that experience. So I think, the communication and publicizing, or the publication of these efforts and stories and impacts, these are very powerful means to promote sustainability.
Thank you so much for explaining everything in a very impactful and a beautiful way. The narration you keep so light, it was no jargons. So, thank you for having this moment. And I'm pretty sure people who are listening us, watching us, having that takeaway from our session like, yeah, I want to be a part of it, and I want to be a successful person when it comes to a global ambassador, and even an individual who is conscious of what a sustainable choice I'm going to make. Either it's from an environmental level, from a public health level, from a mental health level, from a lifestyle. That's what we are working on. So thank you so much for giving us the time, Dr. Wesam. I wish you a great success in upcoming future.
Thank you so much, and have a good time. Thank you.
You. So,
Thank
if
you.
this conversation inspired you, rethink the power of sustainability storytelling. Don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the Sustainable Side podcast. Please go ahead and give your love and support to the global sustainable ambassadors. There's a beautiful community out there who is giving you trainings on how to be a part of successful, sustainable mindset environmentalist. So, for the more conversations with the global leaders, researchers, and change makers, communicators shaping the future of the global impact as an step. So, share this episode with someone who is passionate about sustainability, climate change, public health, and basically environment, who cares about them. And because ideas alone doesn't change the world, communication does, with the concept of little bit of acknowledgement, and it comes with acceptance, and also it creates the environmental awareness, which is key important. And today's episode reminds us the sustainability is not just about science, policies, or innovation. It is about how we communicate hope, urgency, and action to the world. The most powerful environment movements don't just begin with the millions of people. They begin with one idea, one voice, one story among enough to inspire change. So, whether you are a student, policymaker, entrepreneur, creator, or a climate associate, your voice matters more than ever. Thank you for joining the Sustainable Side podcast. Until next time, keep questioning, keep communicating, and keep creating impact that travel beyond the borders only on the sustainable side.
Feel the joy